It's already late. Where's Arjun?
He's looking for universities, right? Maybe he's held up there.
You look so tense. By the way, did you get to choose the university?
No, I'm unable to find a university that meets my requirements.
Whoa. Meet your requirements? What exactly are you looking for?
I'm looking for a place that gives me an opportunity to grow, to excel, to invent, and to innovate. I want to be a part of an institution that paves my way to discover myself and to witness the world moving forward in technology. I want to go to a place that sets a futuristic pattern of education filled with ideas and radical performances. Basically, I want to live my dream.
Dayanand Sagar University. Live the dream.
So we are good to go.
Yes, sir.
So good morning, all of you, and a warm welcome to the students from NTTF. We understand, being a Sunday, committing to a webinar in the morning, especially when we are looking at various challenges in terms of our careers. We also felt this is a good time for us, especially when students are today in a particular dilemma, whether they need to continue working post completing their diploma at NTTF, or whether to look at other career options, to look at growth. And of course, the pandemic has also brought in a lot of challenges to students. I'm sure at NTTF also they must have had the complete program for their final year done online. So with all of this, people are actually stuck. Students are actually stuck in terms of what to do, how to do, when to do. So we thought this would be a good opportunity where we would want the senior members from the university, the senior members from NTTF to be available on a single platform today, where we share the thoughts from the experts, both in terms of the academic experts from the Dayanand Sagar University, as well as the experts from the NTTF, to inform the students in terms of grow your career ladder. Now that you have completed your diploma, and generally our diploma students are highly rich in terms of skills. So with this knowledge that you have gathered in terms of your 3 years program, your 3 years diploma at NTTF, you today being powered with the skills further need to move up the ladder, where you can look at the value chain, the knowledge that takes you towards being an engineering graduate, and thereby looking at a strong career, a strong industry activity, and a good job prospect. So keeping this in mind, today's session is focused exclusively where we talk about the journey from diploma to engineering. This particular activity is exclusively done only for NTTF students. Dayanand Sagar University has collaborated with NTTF, and vice versa. We will be doing a lot of development programs from NTTF to the university, as well as from the university to the NTTF students. So before we go on to the sessions, I would like to take a few minutes to introduce our speakers for today. I would like to introduce Honorable Vice Chancellor Sir, Dr. K.N.B. Murthy. Sir is the Vice Chancellor and also the Professor for Computer Science Engineering. And Sir has been the Vice Chancellor prior to this at PES University. And he has now taken the charge about a year and a half back for Dayanand Sagar University. He is a man of principles and known for the best practices and for turnaround stories for various universities. So we are fortunate enough that Sir is available today and will be sharing his views with the students. And we are really fortunate enough to have Sir today available. Sir, a warm welcome to you.
Thank you, Shinde.
Our next speaker for the day will be Mr. Arvind Srinivas. After the Vice Chancellor, of course, we will have Madam G.S. Kalpana. She is a Senior General Manager Certification at NTTF, and she will be introducing the relationship between NTTF and DSU and the opportunity forward. A warm welcome to Kalpana, ma'am. And we further will have Mr. Arvind Srinivas. He's a veteran at TCS, spent almost 36 years at the TCS facility, and is also a practice consultant at Dan and Sagar University. A warm welcome to you, sir.
Thank you, Shinde. Thank you.
And we are fortunate enough to have Mr. Pankaj Bhande. He is the Chief Technology Officer at Viscub, and he's been former Senior Architect, IoT Solutions Engineering at Wipro. It will be great to see the kind of development activities. And already, I also heard that Pankaj has been working with a lot of students from NTTF who have joined their facility, and he really enjoys talking to those students. So it will be a good exposure today for these students, especially the NTTF students, to see how their journey is going to be very, very amazing from diploma to engineering. So warm welcome to you, Mr. Pankaj Bhande. And I also take the opportunity that we would be having a case study and experience sharing session from Professor Kate. Professor Kate is the director IQSC, but he's also one of the aspirants who had completed his diploma and then moved to engineering, then did his master's, and then did his PhD. So this is a good example for students as to how you could compete with this ever-growing and demanding engineering activity and keep yourself ahead of others. So a warm welcome to Professor Kate also for this session. And this is how the program will look like. We will have the Honorable Vice Chancellor sir setting the opening remarks and setting the context, after which we will have Madam Kalpana. She'll talk about DSU and NTF collaboration as well as the opportunity for students. After this, we will have the first speaker, Mr. Arvind Srinivas. He'll talk about why graduation after diploma, as well as the opportunities available today in the specialized programs. After which we'll have Mr. Pankaj Bhande. He'll give you a correlation between the electronics, communication, mechanical engineering with AI, and the multidisciplinary approach. Of course, the Vice Chancellor sir will also touch upon this. How the multidisciplinary approach will help the diploma student, irrespective of the stream that they come from, whether they are mechanical or tool die or the automation, or they are from electronics. How the multidisciplinary approach will keep them ahead of the competition. And thereby we'll have this session from Professor Kate, where he'll talk about his experience from diploma to engineering to masters to PhD, and now heading the IQSC department at the Sagar University. So here it is. We would like to invite the Honorable Vice Chancellor sir. Over to you, sir.
Yeah, thank you, Shinde. Respected co-panelists, Madam Kalpana from NTTF, Professor Arvind Srinivas, Mr. Pankaj Bhande from his club, Professor Subramanya Kate, and all the members of the admission team. A warm welcome to all the students and their parents and others invitees from NTTF. Dayanand Sagar University, as you know, is a state private university, has been having a collaboration with NTTF. And every time we would like to see what can be done so that the students of NTTF and the students of DSU stand to benefit. Dayanand Sagar University has been conducting several webinars, campus info sessions, of course they're virtual in nature, to reach out to the students and give them information about the various programs of study, the career paths, so that the students can make an informed choice. That's the whole purpose and objective of this webinar as well. What we would like to tell you in the next few minutes and also an hour and a half, what exactly the career path that you can choose. As far as I'm concerned, I would like to touch upon three important aspects for you to consider after whatever the degree that you already have. The first thing that you need to know is what the future is going to be. How does the future is going to shape up? What is the work environment of some time? That's one point you need to know. The second point that you need to know, the second aspect you need to know is what is the career path you're looking for or you should look for. The third, what is to be done to get into that career path in that future work environment. These are the three aspects you need to consider. Let me explain a little bit in detail on each of the three aspects. The first aspect is what the future is going to be. You might have observed there's a tremendous change, a tremendous transitions happening in the last few years. The future in the next 3 to 5 years is going to be critical in terms of the transition that's going to be made from the existing to a new kind of a situation. It's been well predicted and been indicated that the future is going to be disrupted by technology intervention or technology evolution. There will be a lot of technology getting into every aspect of life. That's one thing that you're going to observe. Thereby, because of the inclusion of technology in every aspect of life, the existing job roles and job titles would change. There'll be new job roles, new things that are going to happen. Meaning, the new job roles are far different from the job roles that we see today. Therefore, that requires a different kind of a mindset, different kind of the knowledge levels and the skill levels to confidently handle those kinds of situations. The other thing that's also going to happen in the future, it's been predicted that there'll be a lot of automation that's going to come in. There'll be a lot of the intervention of technologies in the form of artificial intelligence, machine learning, IoT, blockchain, the augmented reality, virtual reality, mixed reality, several others. Because of this, the whole thing will be far different from what we are seeing today. Because of these changes, it's been predicted the availability jobs will be much higher than what we see today. In other words, the jobs are going to be available, or jobs going to be given to those people who have all the requisite knowledge, skill, and abilities. This is exactly the kind of scenario that's going to be there 3 or 4 years down the line. Please understand, you're going to graduate, if at all you're going to join a bachelor's program today, you're going to graduate 4 years down the line. Therefore, you need to look at what will be the kind of scenario 4 years down the line. That's the context which you need to understand. In other words, you cannot prepare the way you were preparing earlier. There's a new kind of preparation, a new kind of, I should say, learning to happen going forward to handle this future confidently. This is the first aspect which you need to understand. Coming to the second aspect, what is the the career path that you're choosing or career path you would like to pursue. There are multiple career paths. One career path would be a job in the industry. You can get a job in the industry and keep continuing with the kind of job that you have, grow, learn few more skills and go up in the ladder. That's one career path. The second career path would be an administrative kind of a thing, maybe the IAS, IPS, IES, these kinds of roles. And one important thing for each of these, particularly you want to go to administrative services, obviously a graduation is a must. The age limit for an IAS or IPS is between 21 to 32 years. Graduation is a must, 21 to 32 years required. And if at all you want to aspire to become an IAS officer or an IPS officer or something of that type, obviously you need to have a bachelor's degree. Bachelor's degree is a must. Therefore, that also you need to understand. The third career path is the research career path. Research career path, like you have done your diploma, you're going to do your bachelor's and master's, then PhD, obviously pursue the research career path, either in the domain of academics or in the industry as well, because industry also is doing lots of research in the recent years. Therefore, a research path is one thing which you can look at. There's other career path that you can think of. The next career path would be entrepreneurship. Entrepreneurship, basically, you can come up with an idea. That idea can be translated, which is nothing but idea to a reality, where you can build the proof of concept, then the prototype, then a product. Obviously, you're going to have a product of your own. Then you build a company around that. Instead of seeking a job, probably you can provide jobs to multiple people. Therefore, this is other career path that you think. One more thing also you need to consider is that after diploma, either you can choose an engineering as one career path. The other career path which is very close to that is the design. B design is another thing. Then you can do a master of design. Then you can do a PhD in that aspect also. Either engineering or design are the two different aspects that you can look at. The basic difference between the two is that in design, there are a lot of creativity and the art that's going to come into play. Therefore, you also look at that's also another career path that's going to open up. Mostly the design engineers or design specialists would be required in every aspect of life. You also need to understand one important thing. Where are these jobs are going to be? The jobs are going to be in every sector. Health sector, maybe the mobility sector, maybe the in the area of energy. Lots of opportunities are going to be there. And the things which we cannot imagine today are going to be available in the years to come because of the availability of technology. Therefore, there's another thing which you need. The last thing is, what is it you have to do now? You have done your diploma. How do you go about getting into a career path which you are interested in? You can decide on any of the career paths which I mentioned, like the career of industry or entrepreneurship or research or administrative service. First and the foremost thing that you have to do is to get a bachelor's degree. To get a bachelor's degree, where should you do that? Should you do it anywhere? Definitely not. You need to get into an institute or a university which understands the future quite well. A university which has understood the provisions or the new opportunities provided by the new education policy, NEP 2020. You may be reading lots about it. And NEP 2020 provides, most importantly, one thing: there's a flexibility of learning. You're going to learn something in the classroom, something through practicals. experiential learning is going to be critical. Then there's also lots of things in terms of doing it in hybrid mode. Then multidisciplinary thing would be the critical thing going forward. Means if you are a specialist in mechanical engineering, that's not it. You need to have little bit of knowledge in computer science, little bit of knowledge in electronics, and little bit of knowledge in electrical engineering, little bit of knowledge in the other domains like non-technical domains like philosophy, like economics. This is the university which can offer all these kinds of combinations, all these kinds of opportunities, are the universities you need to look. Dayanand Sagar University is a university which has incorporated NEP 2020 recommendations or the reforms in a phased manner. One by one, it's being introduced. We have introduced the concept of the multidisciplinary thing, flexibility in learning, and also flexibility in assessment. Assessment is not going to be a 3-hour exam that we were doing earlier. Going forward, assessments will involve a lot more experiential learning, maybe a project, maybe a seminar, maybe an industry visit. This is exactly what makes you a more competent person or a more competent individual compared to a normal rote learning. I'm sure Dayanand Sagar University is going to incorporate each one of them and build a good career or a good background for a student to pursue the career path they're interested in. Any of the career paths which I mentioned, Dayanand Sagar University will provide an opportunity. I'm sure the speakers following me would tell you more about the kind of things that can be done. Also give you a clear-cut idea for pursuing what I said. With these few opening remarks, I thank the organizers for giving me this opportunity to be with you this morning, share some of my views, basically the general remarks, so that you understand the kind of the things that you have to do to pursue a career of your choice. I wish each one of you the very best of luck. If you consider to join Dayanand Sagar University, you're most welcome. I thank the organizers for this opportunity, and particularly Sinde and his team. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, sir. It's a lovely opportunity for all the students to hear from the head of the institution, from the vice chancellors, and the opening remarks, and of course, the kind of opportunities and challenges that are available to students who have completed their diploma and looking out for a high-paying career in the near future. So thank you so much, sir. We would now like to invite Mrs. G.S. Kalpana ma'am, and she would be talking about the DSU and the NTTF collaboration and the opportunity for the students. Over to you, ma'am. Kalpana ma'am. Geeta, if you're there, could you just get in touch with Kalpana ma'am?
Sure, sir. I'm available.
Yeah, ma'am.
Okay.
Over to you,
Good morning to all. Actually, I really appreciate the Vice Chancellor, KNB Murthy sir. This today's Sunday, and he is spending so much of time to address our students. Actually, our students are very, very lucky to get such type of address from the Vice Chancellor. Sir has spoke very well. What is required for today's scenario and what is required for tomorrow, and what are all the requisite knowledge and skills required. Only those those students are taken by the companies. Very good, sir. You spoke very well, sir. Good morning to all, my dear students. I think all you must be knowing I am Kalpana, Controller of Examination, takes care of Assessment and Evaluation Department at Corporate Office. And how are you all placed? I think almost all have placed in a company and started attending office. Maybe few are waiting for the appointment orders and joining little late. Otherwise, more or less all have placed. And as you all know, we have associated with one of the famous prestigious universities, Dayanand Sagar University, from last 2017 onwards. We have started the BWOC program for all specializations like tool and die making. We started in the beginning. Later, we ventured into mechatronics, next computer engineering and IT. We have around 250 students are doing BWOC. NTTF students, 250 numbers are there in Dayanand Sagar University as a BWOC students. It's a very good association. It's the year on year, the strength also increased. That shows that the association, what we are having, and how the boys also felt the importance of the degree. So almost 2 batches of students have also passed out and joined a company also. So now what as sir suggested, this is a very good golden opportunity to grow up with an engineering ladder, because Dayanand Sagar University is there in the field of training from last 5 decades. It's a very good opportunity. And I think maybe Srinivas Shinde is going to speak about the special offer is given to NTTF students. I'm suggesting, why don't you take it up immediately? Because once you join the job, you may feel that out of touch with the subjects. Whatever you want to do higher studies, my suggestion is immediately you better to join for the lateral entry and complete the engineering degree within 3 years. And our students, most of the students are from Bangalore, the local students. It's a very good opportunity is available in the Bangalore itself. You need not to travel any other city. Best make use of this facility. And as sir was telling, Vice Chancellor sir, artificial intelligence, machine learning, IoT, augmented reality, virtual reality, and mixed reality, all these things, whatever you name, it is available in Dayanand Sagar University. You will be having a best practical exposure in all these things. Please join and take it up your engineering degree. And later, once for all, you can join for placement and other activities. But MTech, if you want to do MTech also, further you can do that. There are colleges are available with part-time, weekends also you can join. But the BTech, I feel better immediately you can take it up. This is what is my suggestion. And I thank all the Dayanand Sagar University officials for giving an opportunity to talk in this form. Thank you, sir.
Thank you so much, ma'am. Thank you so much, ma'am, for your words.
Thank you.
I'm sure the NTTF students who are here will be able to correlate to one, of course, their entire duration, tenure, what they spend during their diploma days, as well as now looking forward to, as we see that the technology is improving day by day, but on the other side, the demand for the jobs in terms of the latest technology is also something which will keep them moving ahead. So thanks for the guidance.
But one more thing, Shinde sir, because there are some few students SSLC placed, they were asking, Madam, why we are not getting an opportunity to study in Dayanand Sagar University? But now there is an opportunity for them. And yes, I also want to tell them there is a bank loans are available through Dayanand Sagar University if the financial constraints are there. That is what I think you are going to address all those things, correct?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay,
Yes.
okay. Thank you. Take over.
Thank you so much, ma'am.
Yeah.
We would now like to invite Professor Arvind Srinivas, sir, and he will be addressing all the students with the topic, why graduation after diploma. Over to you, sir.
Thank you, Shinde. Just give me a minute. I'll share my screen. Is my screen visible?
Yes.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, welcome to all the students and parents who may be there on the other side of the screen, virtually attending this webinar from Dan and Sagar University. Thank you, Honorable Vice Chancellor and Kalpana ma'am, for your wonderful opening remark, and of course, Shinde for moderating it so far, and also welcome to Professor Dr. Pankaj Bhande, who's going to be talking subsequently to mine. I will probably touch upon this for about 15 minutes, and then I have actually Professor Subramania Kate, who's my friend and colleague, whom I'll be asking him a few questions as a mini panel discussion, so that some of the questions what some of you may be having in your mind will get addressed, because he's one of the best people who has come to the ranks. So given this background, I just wanted to take you through a small focus area as to why one should do graduation immediately after diploma. In fact, the word immediate is missing here. But then I echo the sentiments of what Kalpana ma'am mentioned a few minutes back, that when you're in the younger age, it's always easier to catch up in terms of any additional studies, what you want to do, rather than trying to get a job right now, which is perfectly fine. But at the same time, you also have the ability to do a part-time or probably take a full-time break and then get back into this. But then as the formative years happen, it's always tough for people to catch up on studies, like exactly what ma'am said. It's difficult to catch up on learning later on once you get habituated to a particular job and get into the comfort zone. So the suggestion is, as we will probably hear from others too, is to why should one do graduation after diploma? That's the focus of this. So I've basically got a small flow of my presentation along these four areas. One is what are the pillars of higher education, and then typical entry-level needs for graduation for diploma students exclusively. And then I'll touch upon the glimpses of various programs through some small pictures and animation. And then as a conclusion, I'll probably request Professor Kate, and I have a few questions to Professor Kate, which I'll be asking, and it will also be audible to you, and you will be able to figure out any doubts, whatever you have, in empathizing with what he has. So first, talking about the pillars of higher education, we are broadly, there are three broad areas. One is called the knowledge, the other one is skills, and the attitude. Knowledge is something which you want to know what it's all about, and then the skill is primarily in terms of how you do particular things, and attitude is something which you want to know why it happens and all that. And we'll just I'll touch upon a little bit of each one of them, but primarily the intent in this current Venn diagram is to indicate that ability of an individual is a union of these three sets: knowledge, skills, and attitude. What is exactly knowledge, and what's skills, and what's attitude? I'll go with skills because most of you have got some very good skills from a reputed institute, Network Technical Training Foundation, NTTF. Some of you probably may be having already a very good exposure and probably jobs too in carpentry, electrical, mechanical, CNC operations, motherboards, or whatever. I mean, I've just listed on a few of them. But the idea behind this is to indicate that skills are something of how you do things. So that's what you're already aware of. And what you do in engineering is the other two in terms of knowledge. You gain a lot of knowledge about the basic theories, information, facts, description, and to know why these things happen and why it can't happen. And it helps you to design certain things. And the third circle, which you say attitude, is to, if you want to know why, in terms of whatever you see as an example here, happiness, anger, surprise, all these things. These are some things which are actually picked up by an individual himself or herself based on the upbringing, the family, the peer friends during your formative years when you're growing with your school, college, and other people. And it gradually evolves subsequently as you grow into a professional environment and also during the academic years and all that. But this is largely self-dependent. But it is quite possible that some of this may get refined, because attitude is something which you also look upon other people as role models and try to attempt changing your own attitude towards whatever you feel is you're lacking. So this is the three pillars of typical higher education. And the people with the diploma background such as yours already come with a basket called skills. I've just listed a few of them, but there are many more. So you will actually get an opportunity to gain significant knowledge in terms of theories, facts, and all of that. If you get into graduation directly into engineering, and maybe 3 decades ago, probably just a graduation was adequate, and that was the new at the time. That was the normal to get a job. And in fact, in my parents' days or even my grandfather's days, probably a fourth standard was adequate, and then it moved on to the 10th standard becoming a basic requirement. And in my time, it had become 10. And of late, in the last few years, I realized that graduation is not enough. The new normal is a master's degree. You get into a graduation and you get into a master's degree. Why? Because the world in India especially has become very competitive. And if you want to look at the long run, you need to look into not just merely a job, because like the way Professor Murthy said, the world is changing and the future is very attractive with a lot of new jobs which are going to come in. And it's time that we need to plan for the long term by looking at something which we are capable of doing, and not just be satisfied with what we get as an immediate available job right now. So given this, what are the typical prerequisites for entry-level competency for a typical diploma person? One is your passion. Your passion to do higher studies, especially graduation and post-graduation, is the new norm, as I said, is something which you will have to have. And the ability to relate to real-world problems. You probably know a lot of operational things in day-to-day life, what you have seen, based on what you have taught. But then the ability to relate to that and solve society's problems is something which you probably innately have, but don't even realize what it is. And a third competency is a multidisciplinary view. I mean, though you may have got a diploma in different degrees, but different areas, maybe electrical, maybe electronics, maybe computer science, maybe mechanical, whatever be that. But then a multidisciplinary view is something where you get a view of all the things which you need to have, because the boundaries between mechanical, electrical, electronics, or most of this have all been artificially created so that there is a better focus. But when the nature looks at it, nature does not look at saying that this is a pure mechanical area, or this is pure electrical area. So in a similar way, when you have ability to have a wider view, what I call as multidisciplinary view, especially when the Honorable Vice Chancellor touched upon the fact that liberal arts and economics and all that are something which you need to have, then that is what gives you the right entry-level competency. And finally, you need to have a career orientation in terms of what you want to do, probably another 10 years down the line. Some of you may not have that ability to think far ahead, but then if you get into a graduation, get into reputed colleges such as Anand Sagar School of Engineering or the BWalk, as she mentioned, then probably you get an opportunity to get into a different career, which probably was even never known to you. So this is typically the 3 areas of knowledge, skills, and attitude which we talked about. So let me just touch upon a little bit more on these entry-level competencies further. So first thing is you need to leverage your old unused skills, because you may not even be aware that you are actually having these kind of skills. So probably if you want to get into a small job and then be stuck with it for the short term, and probably that will seal your career forever, then probably you're missing out a lot in terms of not being able to leverage your unused skills. Or if you think that you have the ability to tap your, develop your potential skills, like what you can see here in this animation here, then that is something which you don't even know unless you get into graduation. That's the beauty of graduation. And finally, if you get into the ability to combine your skills, because there is something which is unused, which you don't even know probably, and some of which you know, some of which you don't know, and some of which you'll potentially have and you will develop using a graduation. And finally, what happens is when you get into this, you have the opportunity to become either a specialist in one of the domains, which I'll be talking about in a few minutes time from now, or you could become probably mechanical engineer with a major in robotics, or probably you could become a computer science engineer with a major in aviation, if that's what you feel like, or probably you could have a major and a minor degree. All these options are available where you can combine all your skills together and come out with a much well-rounded individual than probably what you would have. So what I am asking you is only to tap your potential. What you're waiting for? You have a lot of potential with you, and potential does not count anything unless it's realized. Given this, I just wanted to give you a small animation here where you can see a wide spectrum of a spectrometer with different colors. So this is exactly what you have in the hand right now as you go along with a very wide variety of engineering programs. And this is something which you should definitely tap upon in colleges such as the Dayanand Sagar University or probably any other place where you feel like. So given this, I will just touch upon a very quick glimpse of different engineering things. For example, if some of you must have seen this pedal gear, the sprocket, or probably wondering about how the table fan, I mean, you know how to operate the table fan, but then what goes behind it? Can you design this? If there is something curious quotient which is behind you, then you need to do graduation. Or probably if you're looking at this worm wheel, which you probably have seen in your diploma, then you already have this opportunity. And you just need to click in terms of going ahead. For example, this is small steering wheel, which you can see, so that you can design this and develop, get opportunities more. Where in terms of car assemblies, which you see over here right now, which is happening at a very rapid pace, or probably a small robot which you can probably play around, design some of these things and get the way you are thinking it should happen. Or probably the small CNC machines which you see over here, or the machine cutting which you see happen over here, or the 3D printing which is happening over here, and especially that soft rubber sole for the shoe, which is all rain resistant, which you can attempt only using the 3D printing, which is easily available if you get a graduation degree. Or probably if you're into the finer aspects of microelectronics and all. This is a typical watch assembly for a moment, where some of you can get into the horological aspects of what it's all about. Or this is an opportunity for some of you to understand what aviation or aerospace is all about. And the one on the picture on the right-hand side is something which is an application of a very well-known mathematical theory called the Euclid Diagram. You probably know that this is something which is a spiral which actually goes when you see a small aeroplane wing as you go along. And all this is part of aerospace engineering, which you get an opportunity to see. Or probably if you're into hardcore mechanical, and some of you like cricket, you would like to design a good helmet, which is going on. And how do you design the load? How do you design this? I mean, probably you know how to create that machine, but then the opportunity for engineering gives you some of these areas to work on. Or probably some biomechanical things, which you can see here, or the current Paralympics. Some of them are in Tokyo right now, and even as India is winning several gold medals, silver medals, and all that. But the people behind that are the engineers who do this. And since you already have the skills, it's just a question of getting the right knowledge and then getting it into abstraction, into reality. That's all you need to. Or if you're into electronics, for example, you must have seen the border lines where you see the how the Hawkeye or other things decide which is the inline or outline and things like that. Or probably if you, some of you who are cricket fans, you can probably watch the tracking of this ball, which is nothing but a small sensor which is kept along, and then going with a very sharp camera to capture how the whole thing goes along. This is something which is possible only with the engineering degree with a specialization either in data analytics or artificial intelligence or whatever. Or if you have an opportunity to get into electronic components like the one which you see on the screen right now, a small set of PCB boards and things like that. Or a small phone, which some of you know, that if you turn it, especially with the settings on, but very few people know this is actually part of an embedded system, which you learn as part of an electronics and communication engineering degree, or probably a postgraduate degree in any school of engineering. This is something which offers you for the taking when you do an engineering degree. But then I also want to touch upon one recent aspect, which is the called Bachelor of Design, which is very recent, about a couple of decades back. It's slowly blossoming out. In the last one decade, it has become very pronounced. And I understand Dayanand Sagar University is also providing an opportunity for Bachelor of Design. So what exactly is a Bachelor of Design? Is it very different from engineering? Well, yes and no. So if you look at this, there are some elements of engineering which are a part of this thing. One, it's all about human-centered design. Then there's some elements of creativity. You keep iteratively doing things. And then it's a collaborative effort where you also collaborate with other engineers and skill sets. And finally, you create a prototype before you create it into mass opportunities. Now, all this may sound slightly abstract if you're unable to imagine what this is all about. So let me take you to the field of reality as to what exactly is engineering design with some examples. So design thinking is primarily all about the one which you see on the screen right now. On the left-hand side, you see a small ketchup bottle where a lot of ketchup used to have difficulty in making it. Whereas the design on the right-hand side from Paul Brown for Heinz, he just inverted the whole bottle and designed it so that it can rest on the cap instead of the base what you see on the left-hand side. And now you see a complete change of design with ketchup always available when you just press it. That's the beauty of engineering design. Or probably looking at the potato chips, which some of you may have purchased. On the left-hand side is the one which makes a lot of noise, opening it and all that. Whereas here, it's a small half-pipe elaborated design by PepsiCo. And now this is available with neatly cut things, so you don't have to go about it. It's the convenience, ultimately, that matters. Or look at this on the left-hand side of the screen, where in a typical space-constrained city like New York or Bombay, where you have storage space being created in the staircase for people, and then it goes back into that. Or if you have some space available here, look at this on the animation on the right-hand side. A small wardrobe, which you can design using this, and not just one, but also the second one for a small shoe rack, which you think you can do, and even a third one too, to keep many more items which you can. Now, all this is part of a small creative thinking, which is taught as part of engineering design, a Bachelor of Engineering Design. Or look at this, a small sprinkler, which is what I call as a desi jugaad, a small distillery bottle, and you don't need a sprinkler for this. You just have to attach the hose pipe to it, and then make small holes into that distillery pipe, and then boom, here you get a small sprinkler without needing to spend anything. This is a very simple, elegant design. This is all part of engineering design. Or look at this small video over here, which you see on how you want to clean things without actually struggling. It doesn't have wheels, but then you just have the ability to design a small set of two long frames which has got a wheel inside, and you can use this for any device. What you saw was washing machine. You can use it for a refrigerator. You can use it for any other equipment, including a table if you're using, so that it's easy to clean the underside of it and easily lifts furniture and moves it with the tool. So just to give a small conclusion as I come to end of my presentation, I just wanted to stir upon your creativity for making sure that you make the right choice of getting the appropriate graduation. And the kind of opportunities, I have just listed a typical set of engineering branches over here, which you may be interested in pursuing. And the traditional ones are all listed from top to bottom. But the last one is something which I talked about recently called Bachelor of Design, or design thinking as what it's more commonly called. There are broadly two areas which are very popular at the moment. One is product design, which you saw some of them, and the other one is user experience design. But I will not confuse you about that. Right now, you can think about what you saw on the screen earlier as part of Bachelor of Design as a broad sense. Or now I leave it to you to figure out whether you want to go back or whether you want to continue next in terms of this animation which you see on the screen of going next in terms of your graduation and perhaps post-graduation, or you want to go back and probably continue with the job and probably find it a bit difficult to come back into formal education later. So it's time to move forward for all of you. And I'll probably stop here as it goes. And I will request my colleague, Professor Subramania Kate. Kate, sir, are you able to hear me?
Yes, sir. Thank you, sir.
Yeah, thank you, sir. Sir, Professor Kate, you are one of our role models whom I've seen as a colleague and friend. Can you please help us describe how your journey has been to education and all on that? Describe briefly yourself, sir.
Yes, sir. Thank you, sir. So at the outset, I would like to thank the authorities for giving me this opportunity to share my experience or as a panelist with prospective students of DSU, and presently students are on the verge of completion of diploma by esteemed entity of. I am also a diploma holder, just like the attendants of this particular webinar, who are diploma holders in NTTF. That is one thing. Second thing which I can connect with the present students in NTTF is that I am also from a village. Like NTTF has been named after a village called Nettur. I am also from some other village from a region called Malnad in the state of Karnataka from the Shivamoga district. So I did my diploma in metallurgy from VISSJ Polytechnic Bhadravati long time ago. Then I switched over to BE Mechanical Engineering. At one go, I completed BE Mechanical Engineering. And I took a break of 1.5 years and then completed my ME from Thermal Power Engineering from PDA College of Engineering, Gulbarga. Then I also did my PhD 20 years ago from IIT Madras. So I think if it is possible for me, the two being from a village, studied from in Kannada medium, without studying, PUC, I studied diploma only. But a lot of people are telling it is going to be difficult. But if hard work is there, I think it will never fail. I'm not telling I'm Tendulkar kind of person. However, it is possible for you all to achieve whatever you can. I think so. So presently, I'm the director of IQAC, Internal Quality Assurance Center. I have published about 25 international publications, and also I am carrying out some funded projects for ISRO department. Rather, have carried out funded project for ISRO department, sensor technology, so on and so forth. I think you all can go for higher studies and achieve whatever you want in your life.
Oh, wonderful, sir. Wonderful. Thank you, Dr. Subramanian Kate. Glad to know your journey of life, which probably is what some of these participants are also looking for. A second question to you, sir. What is the advantage a student gets to do graduation immediately after a diploma than working for a few years and then subsequently attempting to get into graduation?
Yes, sir. So I think life or industrial job needs skills as well as conceptual knowledge, as you articulated very well earlier. One has to balance these two. The diploma gives a very fine set of skills. However, during diploma, the syllabi and curriculum will not deal with conceptual knowledges very deeply. So that is needed for life. Now, when you want to gain the further knowledge, better to have continuity. That is one thing. Suppose you want to take a break and work for 2 years or something like that, then fatigue will creep in. So tomorrow I will do, next week I will do, next month I will do, next year I will do. Then you may have to repent sometime later, after 10 or 20 years, you may have to repent that decision. So that's why it would be better to complete the education, at least graduation, if not master degree and PhD, at least graduation, bachelor's degree, be design or be tech or BE at one go. Second thing, having seen some money, once you start earning, you may be satisfied with the little money, whatever salary you get presently, and you may not feel like studying later if you take up a job right now. However, you will realize that later the salary which you get will be peanuts, rather it will be a very small amount. You may not be able to balance life, family life, etc. later. However, if you go for higher studies presently and then complete it, then you may go for you can join the job for a higher salary itself. And second point is that even the industry nowadays, even after 3-4 years of completion of job, they are asking their employees to go for BWork, etc. kind of degrees. So industries also have realized that knowledge is essential. Therefore, in that way, every day the scenario is changing. Branches are becoming obsolete. And therefore, if you go for higher studies right now, and if you complete your bachelor's degree at one go, so that would be better. You can settle down one far. That is my opinion, sir.
Thank you, Professor Kate. In fact, I had a third question. Probably you answered that already. I was just trying to ask you what kind of advice would you like to give for the budding students, but I think you have answered it already very well. Thank you very much, Dr. Kate. And I would like
my final word is hard work never fails, sir. Hard work never fails. So if the students work hard, I think it will never fail. They will reach all the glories. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Professor Kate. Back to you, Shinde.
Yeah, thank you so much. We'd now like to invite Professor Pankaj Bhande, and he has been doing a lot of projects which has involved a lot of diploma students, and he, probably under his guidance, he has been shaping them and looking forward to them in terms of they also taking up the qualification that is required today to meet the competitive advantage. So over to you, Pankaj.
Thank you, sir. Thank you all for providing this opportunity. A very good afternoon. It's past 12 o'clock, so all students and the panelists. It is always exciting to talk to students as a part of these interactions. So rather than talking, let me take you through the experience of what we are doing with NTTF students, with DSU students, and with many of the other engineering graduates. I hope my screen is visible, sir.
Yes, yes.
Yeah. So what we do at Whiz Club and how it involves, students and people from various fields and fraternity, and being a CTO, and I'm handling almost a team of 50 plus engineers and people from science background, people from commerce background. So for me as a CTO, it all works out as a common team, and how all of them contribute, and we do stuff which is exciting in the field of education. In particular, we call ourselves as an edtech company. Yeah. So just trying to start, this very first thing, that how we have worked, on a concept of the world's first India Book of Record events, and we call it as IPL of IoT. So we all are aware about, IPL in the field of cricket, but can we bring that sort of excitement, that sort of, what you can say, pace, and we keep hearing this multidisciplinary, interdisciplinary kind of a play all the time. So it is there in the field of cricket, right? We know that people wear different colors. They call their teams as Kolkata Knight Riders and Chennai Super Kings and Sunrisers Hyderabad and all of that. Then there is a Shah Rukh Khan, who is actually a film star but who owns a team, and then there is a politician who owns another team, and then there is some other third person from a different field as an industrialist, like the Ambanis of the world. He owns another team, and all of that is happening, and so many multiple domains of people and sports person and advertisements and everything comes together very, very naturally in the event like an IPL, right? And it all started very recent. All of you are aware of it. So what we thought of doing is, can we do it in the space of technology? Can we do it that IPL level of thing in the space of technology, wherein you sit in a game of IPL for 3 hours and there are 2-3 commentators who are commenting throughout, and we don't feel bored of it. They speak about every aspect of the game. There is music going on. There are people who are dancing. There is a film star waving his hand in the stands from the VIP area and all of that happening. And suddenly there is Sachin Tendulkar amongst the crowd and all of that. All of this is being very, very well positioned, and we learn these things without calling it as a degree. We know about cricket. I never did a course on cricket, and I can speak about it for hours. But then the pain is we are consumers of it. It doesn't pay back. In fact, we spend on that. We spend on the advertisement. Every product advertisement which is shown during the breaks actually adds up advertisement cost, and we as consumers eventually end up paying for it basically. So there, while we know everything about cricket, I'm not saying all of you may be fans of cricket or IPL in particular. Maybe some of you are from Kerala, you are big fans of football, whatever is the case. But the positioning there is that we know so much without doing any theoretical course, any exam in the field of cricket for that matter. And we still know so much about it. But what we are is just consumers of it. And without calling out those names and degree and diploma and multidisciplinary and everything, they have captured our minds. So we thought, can we do something like this in the field of technology? Can we build multiple disciplines together and do an Internet of Things programming league? And that is where I'm talking about, triggering millions of lines of code as a part of this event, and not just the code part, but it has the elements of mechanical engineering, electronics engineering, and all that. Okay. So let me take you through this behind the scene thing. And I'm trying to do a bit of that IPL kind of a thing, that how all this happened. What is the live action behind the scene? So what we did is we actually I will just reduce the volume a little bit. Yeah, we did created the world's first breadboard setup. Let me just bring it back here. So this is the first setup in the world which is created, and it's a cloud IoT lab setup, and it involves around 2000 plus electronic components. And students from NTTF and some of the other colleges are part of my company, and they work as design engineers with me. So they worked, and they helped in creating the electronics ambient computing environment. So what is ambient computing? It's a lab in which you can talk to every electronic component. You can literally talk in Kannada, Tamil, Telugu, Malayalam, Hindi, English, or any language for that matter. That's what ambient computing is all about. Many of you might be aware that now Amitabh Bachchan's voice is available on Alexa with 150 rupees for an year's thing, and it is an AI generated voice. Amitabh helped the AI to learn, and today you can maybe in future you will be able to order a pizza by talking to Amitabh Bachchan. Hey Amitabh, please place an order for me, on Domino's, and Amitabh Bachchan will place the order for you. But AI is there behind the scene and all of that. So how ambient computing is shaping the future is a different thing, right? So what we did here is we actually started with the world of raw components, capacitors. You can see wires, some ultrasonic sensors, then OLED displays, the ESP32 processors, and breadboards. So this Divya is one of your NTTF post-graduation, post-diploma students. This is Ajib, who is doing mechanical design, who is a NTTF mechanical engineering student. And then you will be able to see this mechanical design being done. Then Amar, who is also an NTTF student actually. So together the electronics team and the mechanical team actually completed the setup, the mechanical design and the electronics breadboarding part of it. And this is the world's first cloud IoT lab. It has got 64 IoT processors, and you can see that every component is handcrafted in this lab. And essentially what this lab does is it is connected to when I say it is all IoT, every component which is connected via the ESP32 processor through the Wi-Fi configuration is now connected to internet, right? So the ultrasonic sensor is connected to internet, the servo motors are connected to internet, the temperature humidity is connected to internet, and the RGB LED strip with 65 million colors, that's all connected to internet. And when I say it is connected to internet, that thing, that sensor becomes an internet of thing. A normal ultrasonic sensor becomes an internet of things sensor. So that's how this handcrafted breadboarded version of the lab is brought out. So when this lab comes in life, you can see now, this is the cloud area wherein suddenly I jump on the cloud, and the computer science engineering team. So, you don't see their face because they have done the job behind the scene. Physically, their job is being done on the cloud, as well as a lot of coding is also involved. So this is that all the processors which you are able to see, it is BB stands for breadboard version, and it is online. That means all the processors are now online in this lab, and it is the 64 processors which are connected now. So this is the live setup of the breadboarded version of this lab. Now we do PCB designing. So, many of you who are electronics engineering background or mechatronics background for that matter from NTTF, we do the PCB designing using Eagle, and many of you might be already playing with Eagle as a part of your diploma. So what we do, so we did a PCB design version of the same thing. So here my product lead Arup, who is an MTech in VLSI and embedded system, he designed the PCBs for all the breadboarded components now. And then the mechanical engineering team actually transported it using Fusion 360, and these are the CAD views of the PCBs actually. So we did PCB designing for all the thing, and now Amar is doing a Fusion 360 design for the electronics working together with the design. We call it as an IoT bridge. So this connects the mechanical with this. Then you go from the design PCB to the manufacturing of the PCBs. And again, the skills which are coming is that you will be able to see that Divya, who is an NTTF student, is doing soldering. She's very, very good, and I must congratulate, the NTTF students and the faculty. They did a great job, and I really enjoy working with the students who are now employees of West Club. working in this field actually, and many of them are interns also from Dayanand Sagar University. So they are doing their degree and they are also interns with us. So these are the completed setups of hundreds of thousands of IoT components, which are now PCB designed with CAD design. Now coming the setup. So what kind of a setup are we trying to do here? So this is another IoT setup from the breadboarded version. This is now the PCB design version of the setup. So there are computer science guys, you can see in these pictures. Again, the CAD design for holding this PCB design setup is happening. We have our own laser cutting setup with us within this club. And then there is Sandeep, who is a mechatronics student from NTTF again. So while I have 50-60 people, I have filtered out some of the students from NTTF in particular. What kind of a work they are doing in industry is what you guys can see here, while they are also trying to pursue their engineering and also working as interns. So this is how the setup of PCB design version of the IoT lab has come out. Now, this is where I covered two areas. I was talking about the IPL of IoT. So you actually do it at a breadboard level, you do it at PCB design level. You see that, mechanical engineering students are also involved. Even the website is also there, which is the computer science background. So all fields are coming naturally. There's no force fit here, right? So just imagine a bowler bowls, a batsman hits a six, there is music being played, the people are dancing, and so much of excitement is there. On similar lines, if you look at our office environment, there is a lot of excitement basically. Why? Because we are always on doing something which is at par in the space of technology, which is naturally interdisciplinary and which involves things. And then again, imagine that in the field of cricket, we all know that there is a junior World Cup, right? Even Virat Kohli, who is a captain of India team, was also a captain of the junior cricket world, and even India won under his captaincy even at a young age. So just what we thought as a company is that why can't we do a junior kind of a thing even for the younger kids till K-12? And that's what this club is all about. That what you people do in the engineering, we take the students of DSU, we take our employees, we take the entire team and take this technology and offer it to K-12 students till 12th grade, like a junior World Cup in technology. And that's what now the kids are doing. Now the kids actually program these labs. This Cloud IoT lab of Breadboard and the Cloud IoT lab of PCB design is now available for K-12 school students across the world, and they sit and program these devices. So let me show you how this is happening. So here, the background scene, you can see hundreds of the students. So because our lab is in Bangalore, our server is in North Virginia. So the lab is connected to North Virginia either via satellite or sea cable. And our IoT server is in Dublin, Ireland. So the IoT devices communication happens via Ireland. And everything is in Bangalore, basically as a lab. So this is where students across the world and India mostly, they actually now use our cloud programming environment and now communicate with this lab. So Blockly IoT is a syntax-less programming language with which the youngest one starts. Someone as young as first grader or second grader. Now, when I said ambient computing, they make Alexa skills and program it in their native language and talk to the devices in our labs. So I'll show you one of the example here. Okay, so now this Alexa is talking to this breadboard version of the lab. So the servo motors connected to India flags. So all these 64 servo motors are now communicating using Alexa. So a student designed a conversational AI model and now communicates with 64 Indian flags. And this Alexa is in any location in the world, and the student programmed it using the Alexa skill environment on our portal. So that's where a conversational AI connected to the IoT lab. That's what is ambient computing all about. And this is Amitabh Bachchan also coming into picture here. Amitabh Bachchan talking. Then you design chatbots. So you create a chatbot. Now this chatbot talks to the RGB LED. Now you use Python on cloud, and you use Python programming to talk to the lab basically. So I moved from Blockly, then I went to Alexa, then I went to Python, and now it is web app design, JavaScript, HTML, CSS, and all that. So this communicates with the lab. So it is perfect marriage of the field of computer science connected to the Internet of Things lab, as I was trying to say, and all over the air cloud level programming using various programming environments. Okay. Then you build machine learning models. So how do you connect IoT to machine learning models? So let us see here. It says I am happy. Happy is a positive sentiment in the world of machine learning. So it is actually trying to identify it as a positive sentiment, and it is actually displayed on the OLED display. So IoTify your machine learning. So if you build a product and you want to see how the product is performing in the field, then you can build machine learning and do the sentiment analysis, and your IoT device can respond to that also as a sentiment. So connecting ML with IoT is also happening, and the kids around this are all programming it. Now a negative sentiment, again programmed with IoT. So now here comes, what all you do. So you are able to do more than 1,000 projects on IoT through this lab. And that's what it is all about, right? It is numbers. You say how many 50s you scored, how many centuries you scored, how many 6 and 4s you have scored in the field of cricket, how many matches you have played, how many innings you have played, and all of that. So in the world of IoT, how many projects have you done? And those projects are not specific to a topic, but they are there for Blockly. 150 projects the kids do with us. Then they do projects in the field of simulation. Then they do projects in web design, conversational AI and chatbot, 200 projects. Then machine learning, they do 100 plus projects. Then CAD design, they do all interconnected basically. Then PCB designing, they do more than 100 projects. And then C++ programming for the ESP32 processor. And then Python over the middleware, 100 plus projects. So all in all, they build actual industry level projects, and it is a experience which we give it to the kids in 18 months of time with 1,000 plus projects. So just imagine that, when you see yourself as a part of Dayanand Sagar University and you work as an intern with Whiz Club, you also get paid for your internship. You also get a chance to work on 1,000 projects. You do both job as an intern, and you also do your engineering. You get your degree, and you also get a chance to work with, Dayanand Sagar University for your engineering. And then you get to work with, professors like Mr. Arvind with such a huge experience. And, this might look you exciting, but behind the scene, there are professors like Professor Arvind who are doing the great job of giving you the in-depth knowledge of the subject. What is an innovation which can transform a product from phase 1 to a phase 10 kind of a jump, right? And they are always behind the scene doing the job, and they will not come to the forefront that easily. So, but I appreciate them because the students who are learning those subjects there, and me as a CTO of an industry, when I see those concepts available in a student at a conceptual level, and Mr. Subramaniam Katte was also saying that it is very important to have fundamental concepts. This is what we want, right? You have to have a balance of both industry as well as academia. And the more you learn, the better it is. And the better knowledge you bring, the better product I am able to design from the industry point of view. So these are the chances which we give to you while you actually pursue your engineering at DOC essentially. So these are some of the things which we are doing. Now, when I come to the tech stack, you can see this is the complexity of the technology stack which we deal with. And you will be surprised. You might have heard the term no code. So all the 249 AWS components which are there, most of them are a no code environment. Okay. So you are able to configure the entire cloud without writing a single line of code. So powerful is the cloud environment. Then you will say, should I learn programming? So I will even show you everything is there. You should never accept anything just like that. But if you look at this tech stack, I as a CTO of the company, although I have a master's in electronics, I look at cloud, I look at mechanical, I look at electronics, I look at, Adobe tools, user experience design. I look at, almost every aspect of the company from the human resource point of view, from the employee learning point of view, from interviews point of view, and all of that. So this is the complex tech stack which most of our team members actually learn when they work with us. And then how is the architecture? So the architecture of our entire setup looks like this. So you can see that, this is how the the cloud components are interconnected. There is Docker here, there is Debian operating system here. There is a security group, there is AWS Lambda, serverless compute, there is Alexa, and all of that. It all comes together and you form your architecture by consuming all the tech stack components individually, actually, right? So that's how an architect in my company actually is working as a part of a larger team. And then comes the million line of code, which I was talking about, right? So these are the programming languages which we use as a part of this environment, right from JavaScript to XML to CSS to Python to HTML, Jupyter as a notebook environment, then JSON as CSS, less and all. So all of that combined together, you are able to see that 1 million or rather 12,51,858 lines of code is what we use as a part of our development, basically. How many files, how many programming languages, everything is working seamlessly here. These are the files, which are used. And this is all is what coming together in the world's first, cloud IoT computing lab. And that's what is the kind of work we create in the field of, technology. So this is what, I had to speak about, that when you want to pursue your next part, I would suggest being in Bangalore, a place wherein most of the unicorns in India are there. And we are in HSR, 3-4 unicorns are there within HSR itself. It is DSU is very near to our office and students can come and go. And that's where the beauty, it all works out very, very seamlessly for us also as a company and for DSU students also. And with the kind of knowledge Professor Murthy brings in, the kind of support Mr. Murthy, the Honorable Vice Chancellor is giving us, it's all working out for both the company, we as WIS Club, and both for the the DSU students as well. So I will always say that go for both, do a job in industry and pursue your higher education, so that you don't miss out and you always get better, and that's how things work for you. So that's it from my side, students. Thank you for your time, and I will be more than happy to take any questions if at all you have on my behalf, actually, from WIS Club side. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you so much, Pankaj sir. Appreciate your time and the guidance to all the students. So here it is, students, as we talk, and Kalpana ma'am had said that there is an offer that we would want to extend. So we have a scholarship exam called the Dayanand Sagar Scholarship Admission Test. This is especially planned for all the students from the NTTF activity. And you could log on. I think all of you must have received an email also regarding this. So we would like you to all to register for the test. And the test will be on the 12th of September. We will, it's a Sunday, so we'll have 2 slots, 10 to 12 and 3 to 5 p.m. Once you write the test, in the next 2 days, we will be letting you know the results. Once you are through with the threshold score, we will be offering you a scholarship in terms of 55,000 rupees for the computer science engineering, and almost up to 85,000 rupees for mechanical engineering with new age specializations, as well as the electronics engineering with new age specializations. So it's a good opportunity. And of course, all the other benefits that are there with the university in terms of the startup village, the labs available, the Atal Innovation Center labs available. Of course, DSU has got a very strong lineage when it comes to placements. We are one of the most premium universities available when it comes to the placement of the students. But more than this, what's important for all the students today is to move up in the life. Today we're talking about a ladder which will give you the right kind of positioning when you move forward. So while you have done your diploma, many of you feel that, okay, this is the right time for the job. Job is always there. You give in your 3 years. These 3 years is going to be a game changer for all of you. What additional are you going to get over here is the value, the knowledge, the practical exposure, the qualifications, so that you are also competitive enough and you will be able to stay ahead. So with this, we would like to thank all our dignified speakers for the day today, and also would like to thank the NTTF authorities for helping us out to arrange this webinar for for their students who have already passed out. And I think by October we expect everything to be normalized in terms of the COVID activities. So the face-to-face activity begins. So students will be able to come and take the absolute advantage of the high-end labs that we already have in our campuses. So thank you very much. We look forward to seeing if there are any queries. You all must have received an email. In the email, we have also specified the phone numbers as well as the email IDs. But you could always write to us and we will be happy to look forward to any queries that are coming. This is our helpline numbers 46461800, or you could visit the website dsu.edu.in and fill in the applications and we will get back to you as soon as possible. So thank you so much. Have a safe Sunday and enjoy your day. Thank you. Thank you once again.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
It's a good program, sir. Thank you.
Thank you so much, ma'am.
Thank you, madam.
Yeah, thank you.